I'm really happy to welcome to the show Christian Mix-Linzer, CEO of Tracks and Fields. So hi Christian, and thanks for making the time to come on the show. Everything all right your end?
Yes, everything is perfect, and thank you for your invitation to your show.
So first of all, what is Tracks and Fields in a nutshell?
Tracks and Fields is a place for music creators where they find the right partners for their projects online, and also for companies that need music that can post their briefings. For instance, a TV commercial, a game, a film, or a record label looking for a remix can post their briefings, and our users can answer to that.
And on the show, I'm always interested in asking how did the company develop? So from the time you had the first idea for the site, how did you go about creating Tracks and Fields, and how long has it been out there?
Well, it's actually quite a long story. It started about 4 years ago. It was basically I have a background on the record label side of things. I was running a record label for almost 10 years, and I always saw the same problem among musicians, so that most of the people I was working with were the artists were like spread out all over the world, or at least all over the country, and it was really slowing things down. So 4 years ago, I was going to university at the time. I came up with this idea, and it ended up that I spoke to my professor about it, or the professor heard about it. He was instantly hooked, and got us the first round of funding, which was kind of like a pre-seed funding to develop new technological concepts. Yeah. And that's kind of got it all rolling. Then I met two programmers, Roman and Valentin. They're still on the project, and they started building the first version. Basically we got our first capital to start a company. Yeah. That was last summer, and now we're basically operating as a company since July 2009, really. Yeah. And we're currently 12 people here in Berlin.
And the site covers a wide variety of aspects of music production. So it goes from collaboration requests to samples to remix contests. Do you find that each of those different parts attracts a different type of user? Or do you think that most users use all aspects of the site?
It definitely attracts a different kind of users. And it was basically, the idea was, the fundamental idea is to have a collaboration site, but there's different ways how people collaborate. For instance, there's some people who are more like they would upload a sample, and then someone else is using it in their song, and then they see it, someone else is using my sample, so they're basically collaborating with each other without really talking to each other, just sharing files or making files available. Then there's other people who start a session and say, hey, I'm looking for someone to actively work on new ideas, and then exchange ideas back and forth, which is a different way of working. Yeah. And then there's other people, like for instance an artist that has a song finished and says, look, here are the stems, I need someone to remix and post it back to me, or this is what I need, and I need it by this deadline. Yeah. Which is also another way of collaborating. And finally, you have user profiles where you can just look for, let's say, the bass player in your town, and you can meet up for rehearsals somewhere, and it's even another way of collaborating. So when it comes down, it's you can use it all together, but we're basically catering for different ways to make music with other people. Yeah,
and the process involves quite a bit of social communication between users. How did you foster this sense of community in the site?
That's always a tough question, because you can't really make your community be a community. Yeah, it's basically what we're doing is we're trying to bring exciting opportunities to the site. For instance, like remix contests, which are now basically almost on a weekly basis. And like the amount of requests we're now getting from record labels, it's going to be even more in the next few weeks or months. And I guess what we are doing is we are making sure that everything we do is in the interest of our users. Like we're not trying to have some fine print that's gonna put an unfair advantage on them. We want to make sure that they get treated right when record labels wanna use the music and other things. To the extent we can control it, but also we speak actively to our users. We sometimes email users that we notice are doing great things on the site and say, hey, basically get their feedback, see what their thoughts are on our project, and up to even starting to do interviews with users for our blog.
So are there many business transactions taking place on the site in terms of offering and getting professional services, or are most collaborations free of charge? So I can imagine, a successful session drummer could generate a real income by landing his services on the site. But is that something that is made easy, or is this something that you prefer doesn't happen?
No, actually, we would like that to happen. Basically, the idea of our business model is that we see two different kinds of users. We see the hobbyist, or the person who just wants to make some music for fun, which is, unless he's really doing it a lot on our site, it's usually free of charge.
Yeah.
And then we have the more professional user who is basically our customer, and for which we are building a professional service that can, for instance, if you want to take part in a remix contest where you might get on the record from the band, but not necessarily a big royalty check, that is something you enter for free. But if you want to post your song for a TV commercial, where you might earn thousands of euros. That's something where you have to pay a premium subscription fee.
Yeah. And
we are extending that basically that we want to give studios or people who do mixing, mastering, session musicians, give them also the chance to sell their services if they're a premium member. So this absolutely we all for that, and we are looking into more and more ways to facilitate that on the site.
Yeah, because the account offering is basically your monetization of the site, because you don't have any advertising, do you, on Tracks and Fields?
No. I mean, we at the beginning we had a few Google advertisements. We do have that on our blog, but we don't really actively try to build up a sales team for advertising or even have it on our site. I mean, most of the time it doesn't really generate that much income, and it just messes up the whole experience, the whole look and feel.
Yeah. And Tracks and Fields also features an online sequencer. How did you get the idea to incorporate that within the site, and how have you seen the users generate music out of that?
As I said earlier, 4 years ago, I started the project out of the fact that that most of the artists I was working with were spread out all over the world, and many of the artists I was dealing with were bands. So. Yeah. What you usually have in bands is you have the one person who's really good at Pro Tools or any kind of software they're using, and the rest of them couldn't really bother. At least I saw that in many bands. Sure. And the thing is, if you collaborate with each other, it has to be a software that can be usable by everyone. The singer, the bass player, whoever needs to be able to use that piece of software fairly easy. Yeah. And that's basically the idea, to build like the most stripped down sequence you can think of, that basically you can upload your tracks, you can record, you can put them together really fast. And when you look at adoption, I mean, at the moment we see a lot of users that are really professional end of the scale, where we see they don't really make the song with the sequencer. Yeah. It's more like you use that to exchange ideas, and then you do the final song in Pro Tools a lot.
Yeah, sure. It's like a way to test whatever people are giving you and see if it works at all. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And the platform is in continuous evolution. And in just last month, you announced an integration with the SoundCloud, for example, for the easy import of samples and remixes. And both you and SoundCloud are based in Berlin. So I was wondering, is there quite a strong sense of community between people who work in startups in Berlin as there is here in London?
I find it's a very good community, especially on the technology side, but also on the music side. And I actually think that makes Berlin a really good place by having this amazing companies like SoundCloud, and you have the music software companies like Native Instruments or Ableton, and the record labels, especially especially all the electronic and dance labels that are here in Berlin that are amazing. It makes a really good place to start new things.
Tracks and Fields is a great idea, and at the moment it's mostly geared at music, but it's something that I could see applied to other aspects of the creative industries, like a movie production and short film production. Is that something that you're exploring, or is it something that you want to get into?
We were thinking about that as well, or we were openly discussing it. At the moment, I don't really see it happening, because I think it is already a challenge if you're a digital music company to focus on some of the core things that you want to do really good, and where you want to potentially create the best offering out there so that people love using it. We might lose our focus if we extend to the other things, because you start saying, okay, music, they need record covers, so you get graphic designers on the side, and they need videos, so get video people on the side, and then we can do a video community. At the moment, I see it only being focused around music. Yeah. But of course, a video that needs music, or a film that needs music, or a game producer that needs music. Those are I guess that's where we want to extend. Sure.
No, that's definitely something that a lot of companies are trying to be very specific on what they're trying to do, because it's the best way to get a good user experience. Yeah. And finally, what is next for Tracks and Fields? Have you got anything in development that you'd like to talk about?
Basically, at the moment, we are working very hard on focusing some of the features even more, and making the site clearer, and that's working on optimizing the learning curve. One thing that that's a focus right now is the whole session technology. There's actually going to be a major update in 3 weeks from now, where the whole session functionality is going to be better to use, faster, and some new features that are going to make collaboration much or even better on our website.
It's fantastic. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to come on the show. And the site is www.tracksandfields.com. And do you have a Twitter account as well?
Yes, it's also twitter.com/tracksandfields.
Cool. Well, great. Thank you very much.